First semi-final at the weekend, lads, is Gorey against St Martin's. Mikey, you were involved in the game against St Martin's last weekend. I suppose you're probably maybe still a little bit disappointed that goal wasn't given.
Yeah, sure. Look at the time I thought it was a goal, but James Owens went down to the umpires and rashed it as well. But I don't know, the umpire didn't see it. But look, we weren't good enough on the night, and then things happened. So disappointed, but that's what happens when you don't perform. When
you look at the Martins challenge, then what was the main, I suppose, thing that got them more? I know the penalties, obviously, but they were very competitive with you.
Yeah, I think they were just better and stronger on the night. They out-muscled us a bit, and they maybe got their matchups right. We didn't win an awful lot in the half-forward line, and they got to the break ball first, really, I think. So.
And Joe, you had the challenge of Gorey at the weekend, and it was obviously the conditions were quite difficult with the way the weather was, but again, they got the better of you by 3 points.
Yeah, they got the better. I suppose they were coming off 2 losses, and I have to say, I think they came out with, changed their whole team. I don't think we expected it. They got their matchups correct, and then they wanted it more on the night. I suppose they knew from last year when we'd bet them, they come out with a bit of a bite. I suppose the other side of it is they had nothing to lose, and when they changed up their team, I think it must have brought a new life to them, you know.
And Brendan, you played Gorey. You were quite unlucky, I suppose, not to win. Really, it was a very competitive game. You were ahead for most of it.
Yeah, sure. Look, we hurled well for 40 minutes of that game. I thought, and probably lost our shape a bit in the second half, for the last 15 minutes. They got a kind of a stranglehold in the middle of the field on us, and the half back line they started to clean up ball, and they got a lot of long range scores against us actually, because Conor MacDonald, Richie Keogh, I thought that they held him fairly well, and actually the other day he was quiet enough too on his behalf, so yeah, sure, look at as Joe said, they changed up the team a bit there the other day, and a few changes, personnel and positions, and it seemed to have worked for him, but conditions played a big part the other day too, I thought now, so.
And if you were the Martins team, would you enjoy seeing Conor MacDonald playing out around the half-forward line?
If I was the Martins going in, I probably would. I'd rather see him out there because it takes away the bit of a goal threat. I know they moved Pádraig Doyle in, and he got a goal the other day against us. But if you had Conor Mac out, and I know he's going to be trying a target man for puck outs, well, it'd be interesting to see if they'll play Jack Cullen on the other wing again, or will they move him back centre back, because I know they can move Charlie McGuckin back wing forward. They have so many options for puck outs, but if you had Conor Mac out from goal, as we've seen already, he's after scoring 5 or 6 goals this championship already, so it does take that element away from it.
And Mikey, the game that you played against Gorey wasn't streamed, but you seemed to hurl the ears off them. I think it was 117 to 6 points at half time. And how did you approach that game? Where did you see the weaknesses in Gorey?
I don't know how many weaknesses now they had, but their strengths were definitely Mac and Jack Cullen centre back. I think they were their main big ball winners that night. But Gorey were through, sure, you know yourself. We were all beating each other there for a while, and it's on the night. Belfield, firm ground, dry night. Dee O'Keefe hitting balls over from 80 yards, Smoggy, plucking balls and running at defence. So that didn't happen at Wexford Park the other night. Total different game, heavy sod in the park, wet and windy. I also forgot to say, the Martins brought on 3 count, they brought on Willie Deverick, Dahi Waters, Aaron Maddock. You don't pull those guys out of the sky really. They've all done their stint with Wexford, and we couldn't really compete with that. They give an awful help, in the end. So total different game. Wexford Park is different than anywhere else, and Gorey, look, I didn't see the full lot of it, but I was too shook after the game. Actually, I had a pain in my stomach and a sore hand. But look, my hurling was over Saturday, so I didn't really need to look at it. But I know the Doyles well. I'm related to them, and I seen Pádraig's goal. It was a great goal, and Aidan had a great point and all. So they have a good even panel like Gorey, So look, they'll be thereabouts.
Brendan, Mikey mentioned the lads that the Martins had to bring in. If people were told maybe at the start of the year they'd have no Joe O'Connor, no Rory O'Connor, Aaron Maddock is only back from being away, and they're still right there with a good chance of being in the county final.
Yeah, we should look, I suppose, in fairness, to be missing that many lads and still being in the county semi-final is an achievement in itself, I suppose, And I suppose for once the Martins are probably coming in as underdogs, which is You know, they were probably a team that everyone thought when Oulart sort of went past their peak, that the Martins, like, you know, what they have coming through, like, that they were going to maybe take over, but it doesn't always seem to work that way. And, you know, I suppose when you start losing 1 and 2 lads here and there, it'll take its toll. But look at they're back now, and they'll be saying the same. They'll be saying no one has given us a chance now. But they do have, as Mikey said, like, they've massive experience to call on there. Like, I think Dottie Waters now coming back in, you know, Willie and all, they're going to steady the ship there big time. Like, maybe whether they start or not is another day's sort of work, I suppose. But I don't think I'd be writing them off anyway. I don't think it's going to be clear cut. Like, you know, like Gorey are going well, but, you know, don't underestimate the Martins either. I don't think, you know, especially now you get a good dry day, Wexford Park, you know, like. Conditions, sure. I wasn't there. I was at home and on the luxury. I had the luxury of watching it on the telly at home, you know, and I felt sorry for the boys.
It was heavy on now.
Playing in those conditions. Now, I had the cup of tea in hand, like, you know that. But
the ball was heavy, now.
Yeah, and
wicked heavy.
you know, and you still scored 2 points.
They were over the left shoulder.
Yeah, look at your on a good day now. You know, I'd be expecting a good game now. You know, for the. Between the two of them, like, you know. So
before I get predictions, Joe, you played the Martins in the very first round in Belfield, and it was 3-15 to 1-16. So both teams got you reasonably the same amount of scores. What sort of game was that? I don't think a lot of people would have seen it.
No, not a lot of people would have seen it. It was a tough game. It was open enough at times. We kind of got the goals at the right time that day. The Martins were good and strong. I think young Cod, centre back, is a very good centre back. He cleaned up a lot of ball that day. He seemed to do it again the hands as well. But the Martins will bring a nice thing to it, because they have a nice balance, even though that they're bringing back in a couple of players and all. So it'll be interesting that day again. Us, they were missing a couple, missing Joe Coleman and a few others, and they were tough. And I can see how they got to a semi-final, because they're after battling well to get there.
Right, so we get predictions then, Brendan. Who is going to win this one, and how much roughly do you think they're going to win it by?
Jeez, we're really putting the pressure on here now. Well, look at you know, again, I think it's going to be a close game. Obviously, maybe conditions will play a big part again, and I suppose team selections, but I might just side with Gorey by a point or two now on the weekend, you know.
Joe?
I'm going to go again, Brendan. I think it'll be a point to Martins. I think if Martins can stop the goals going in, I think they have a right good chance at it.
Mikey?
Gorey will be favourites, but I wouldn't be surprised if Martins bet him. But if I was punting man, I'd be Gorey by about 5 or 6 points.
So bit of mixed bag here. I'm going to go with Gorey as well to make it 3-1. I think they're maybe just slightly better than St Martin's at the moment, but I think it'll be a close game.